There's guys out there who, when they get into fitness, they say, "Oh, I just want the Brad Pitt from Fight Club physique, bro." So I'm following his workout, and I'm also eating chia seeds to boost my metabolism, and I'm not eating white rice anymore because that like turns into sugar in the body. And they're doing all these 20 different things, half of which are completely useless, and the other half are unsustainable. And these guys don't get anywhere. Whereas there's other guys out there who follow the tried and tested, simple, basic methods to achieve their goal physique, and they reach it in no time. I'm going to talk about the difference here specifically. I'm going to talk like I'm giving advice to my old self, and I'll give the most honest, transparent answer I can give to get from the starting point for me, which was a skinny fat kid on the skinnier side of things, to get to your goal physique as fast as possible. Without further ado, let's dive into it. I remember clearly, I was laying down on my bed. This is like right when I started to get into fitness. I'm laying down on my bed, got my phone open, and I'm watching Kino Body, right? And some of you may be familiar. He's pretty popular in the fitness industry. And his whole motto is like, oh, you got to be lean. You got to have a lean Hollywood aesthetic physique, right? And this idea is perpetuated otherwise as well. It's like, oh, you want to be aesthetic? Get the Brad Pitt from Fight Club physique, bro. Women love that physique, bro. It's all about the abs for the aesthetics, bro. Like, no, take that thought, throw it out the window. We don't listen to those people, right? These people put a train of thought on us that serves us horrifically in the long run, right? Because I fell into that train of thought, and it cost me, in my opinion, years of progress, right? Because when you're constantly trying to like hold on to these lean aesthetics, you're not going to be able to build muscle. And this leads me to the first point, which I believe is very important to understand. And that point is, muscle is the most impactful thing you can build. Aesthetics ultimately are what? They're enough muscle and a low enough body fat percentage. Guess what? Losing fat is easy. Losing fat is absurdly easy once you understand the basics. But building muscle, that's hard. And when you have enough muscle, you can be at a high body fat percentage, or rather higher than like, 8, 10% body fat percentage, and still look phenomenal. Phenomenal. And again, look, I was 140, 5'10", underweight for my height, and I'm cutting. What the is that? So again, the first point I'm trying to make, really important to understand before we even dive into any other specifics, is building muscle will be one of the most impactful things when you can do to get to an aesthetic physique. So if you're at a point similar to mine where you're underweight, you're already skinny, and don't have a lot of muscle on you, and you're trying to cut down to get aesthetics, let me tell you something. Because again, I've lived this, so I'm not trying to talk smack or anything, but I've lived this. You're gonna be, if you go that route, you're gonna be tracking every single calorie that goes into your mouth, right? Because you have to be stingent with it to ensure you're not putting on fat and you're staying lean. You're gonna be tracking every single calorie that goes into your mouth. And when you go out in public, in regular t-shirts, you're just gonna look like a skinny, frail, weak-looking kid that doesn't even lift, right? No one will even be able to tell you lift until you take your shirt off. And how often do we really take our shirts off, right? So again, my mind was just like, oh, if I have abs, I'll be aesthetic, and that'll be like, no, no, trust me. Building muscle has done a lot more for my aesthetics than trying to be like hyper lean, right? So first point I want to make there. Now, next thing I remember is after I learned some of the basics, and again, I'm going to touch on them a little bit, but these are some things I have to talk about the foundation. So when I learned about the basics of like dieting, bulking, cutting, etc., I learned about if it fits your macros, right? And I remember so vividly, I'm in my kitchen. I've got a loaf of bread in front of me. And because I'm a bit of a hypochondriac and I have anxiety in general as well. I struggle with like anxiety, overthinking, things like this. And, I learned about if it's your macros, where it's like, oh, you can eat 80 to 90% clean and then 10% not so clean, right? And I'm looking at this loaf of bread, right? It's like whole wheat bread, whole grain bread. And I'm like, oh, is this junk food? Is this healthy food? Some people say you should never eat grains, but others say you should eat grains. It's like, oh my god, oh my god. And then the same thing when I'm choosing protein powder. Oh my god, is this healthy? Is this unhealthy? Oh, it has sweeteners, and it's just overcomplicating these things. And this leads me to the second point, because this overcomplication, oh, is this healthy? Is not healthy? It caused me to be in this constant cycle of like shame and guilt around my foods and around my workouts, right? Because I'd eat something like, say, bread. I'd be like, oh, was that unhealthy? I don't know. And then, oh my God, I'm not disciplined enough to just eat vegetables instead, things like this. And I feel bad about that. Or if my workout, I missed a PR. Oh my God, that's so pathetic. I didn't even hit the PR. God, how am I ever going to get to my goal physique? And I just get caught in these negative thought cycles. So this leads me to the second point, which is the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid, right? Look, there's going to be people who are going to tell you otherwise. They say, oh yeah, you can only eat vegetables and chicken breast, bro. You got to be disciplined, bro. Food only serves a function in your body, bro. Oh, you ate a chocolate bar, you're pathetic, bro. Like, no, take that thought, throw it out the window. We don't listen to those people, right? Again, these people bring a train of thought on us that's not going to serve us whatsoever, and it's not sustainable. Even if you look at some of the most popular fitness personalities, like Athlean X, go look at his diet. He has a video up on it. He eats whipped cream like all the time, right? And even there's this one video in particular that I remember of CT Fletcher, who says that, food only serves a function in my body. I don't eat this stuff for fun. I eat this. And I think people have taken that too literally. Because if you literally watch, first of all, CT, when he was a power lifter, for 20 years, he was eating McDonald's damn near every day when he was a power lifter. And then when he got into bodybuilding, he said he would have 6 days where he'd eat clean, and the seventh day he'd eat pizza, whatever the hell he wanted, right? So even if you take the, like, directly from the horse's mouth, right, you see that he wasn't even following that advice, because it's unrealistic to expect that level of discipline. And frankly, you won't be able to stick to it for very long. So again, the KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid. So anyway, this leads me to, I guess, now the point of where we get into resources. So I'm going to leave a resource in the description that has all the information you need around bulking, cutting, lifting, workout programs, everything. The reason I don't go over resources a lot, like sometimes in the comments people tell me, and I don't touch on the specifics too much, and I will in future videos, I probably will. There's a few reasons why I don't do it. A, that information is out in extreme abundance, right? Extreme abundance. You can find a million videos on how to bulk. You can find a million videos on how to cut. But some of the things that I'm talking about, more the human side of things, when you're going through the process, how difficult it is. And I'll touch on my background a little bit of how insecure I was. And literally my whole fitness journey was fueled from insecurity, right? And then how, if you have a bit of overthinking tendency like I did, where it's like, oh, is bread healthy, unhealthy, like these things, which is like the real struggle of going through the journey. I like to talk about that because my hope is I can keep people motivated throughout their journey with these videos, right? Because understand that all this bulking, cutting, that stuff is simple, right? And again, there's a million and one resources. I'm going to link one in the description, which I think is phenomenal. But there's a million and one resources to talk about that. And they all say the same shit. So I would just be repeating that same shit. But in these videos, I want to talk very directly to people who are like the old me and keep them on the path, right? Because again, information is out there in abundance. If you all want me to talk about it, please leave a comment, message me. If you want a video on that, no problem, I'll make it. Because frankly, those videos are easier to make. It's borderline an algorithm. Oh, eat this much more than maintenance. Easy for me to make. I know all that stuff, right? But if I can make videos and content to keep you on the path, I think that's infinitely more valuable, right? And that's what I try to do with these videos, right? So anyway, what's the long and short of how to get an aesthetic physique? If you're at a similar starting point, skinny fat kid on the skinnier side to reaching point B as fast as possible, first put on some damn muscle. Put on some damn muscle. Don't ignore this. Don't be obsessed with being hyper lean. I'm not saying be fat, right? So don't go on a super dirty bulk or something like that. But again, resources are in the description. They're going to give you a clear-cut guide on how to bulk. Bulk, put on muscle, right? I would say bulk up to maybe anywhere from 15 to 20% body fat. And then as, the fat is getting a little bit too much, do a cut down to 10 to 13% and rinse and repeat. Just rinse and repeat and follow the basics, right? Counting calories, counting your macros, progressive overload. Again, all will be specified in the resource in the description, so make sure you check that out. But just follow the basics and don't trip over this perfection. Oh, is this unhealthy? Oh, I didn't sleep enough yesterday. Oh, I didn't hit this workout perfectly. Who cares? In the long run, it will average out, right? And the simpler you keep it, the more you'll be able to sustain it. And paradoxically enough, the faster you'll get to your goal, right? So again, keep it simple, follow the basics. I'm confident you'll achieve your goal physique in no time. I just want to end this video off by saying, hey, be kind to yourself throughout this process. This is not an easy process whatsoever, right? Again, my background is I got into fitness because I was absurdly insecure. Like, I cannot put into words how insecure I was about my physique, right? I hated everything about my physical face, body, everything, right? And I was like, well, I can't do anything about the face. Let's do something about the physique, right? And then that's what started me on my journey. And throughout elementary school, high school, college, I had like a non-existent dating life. So I was trying to scratch that itch. I was like, oh, if I have abs, if I have aesthetics, then girls will like me. Then I'll be cool, right? Because I was never the cool kid either. So I was trying to scratch that itch as well, right? And that mistake alone cost me so many years. And that's the one I pointed out at the start of like being hyper obsessed with abs, like, and I've touched on that already, so I won't touch on that anymore. But that was the foundation through which I started this journey. Again, deeply, deeply insecure the whole time, not liking any aspect of myself. Like I was on like every single dating app and I'm checking it every 2 minutes. Oh, did I get a match? Did I get a message? There's nothing there, bro. There's nothing there. Right. And I had insecurities even running as deep as like my skin color. Like, oh, will people even be attracted to some of my skin color? Right. So I was caught in extremely negative thought cycles. Right. And that was my background, how I got into this fitness game. And let me tell you something else, because that's kind of the downer part of it, so to speak. But fitness truly, truly changed my life, right? Like if there was just one thing I was to point at in my self-improvement journey, if you asked me like, what's the one thing you did that was most impactful, it was fitness. If it wasn't for fitness, I wouldn't have the well-paying career that I have today. I wouldn't have like all the good things in my life I have today, because fitness was the first thing where I actually stuck with something and I was disciplined with something. Before that, I would pick up things and get excited about them, drop them like a hot potato. I wouldn't stick with things. I didn't have any track record of being a hardworking person. I was a terrible high school student, didn't graduate high school on time. So I was failing high school courses, and they're super easy, right? So there was nothing in my life where I had discipline or I had a track record of success. And fitness was the first thing, right? And that domino effect then leaped into my career, where I went from not knowing what the hell I was doing, just kind of going from job to job, to having a high paying career. I talk about that in another video. So anyway, that's a bit of a side note. So fitness completely changed my life, right? And again, keep on going through this journey. I'm confident if you stick with it, this will be one of the most impactful things you do as well. And this will completely change your life as well. Now, I just want you to imagine for a second. Imagine you take this advice, you run with it, and your dating life is improving day by day by day, right? All your social media apps are blowing up. Your dating apps are blowing up because you're looking phenomenal, right? But more importantly than that, your self-esteem in yourself and your confidence in yourself is improving day by day by day, right? Because another, outside of just the physical insecurities I had, another insecurity I had was I was such a weak, skinny-looking kid. And I was insecure about that. It didn't feel very masculine, for lack of a better term, right? And now those insecurities, and it's not like I don't struggle with any insecurities. I have my insecurities still, but I'm in a significantly better place than I was before. So imagine you've gone on this journey, and again, self-esteem and confidence rises day by day by day. Imagine that. And that's the path you're on. Hey, keep working hard. I believe in you. But frankly, what I believe doesn't matter. What you believe matters. So I hope you believe in yourself too. That's all I got for this video. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Ultimately, I want this to be our positive little community where we help each other, support each other, and help each other get to the next level in life. So please come join the community. I'll leave my Instagram, TikTok in the description. Also,